Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. How is everyone? Hope that you all are well, enjoying your learning. Okay, today we are here to solve the scenario-based question as per our promise. That is of May-June 2024, paper 2-2. I hope that you have seen the video of the rest of the paper. So today we are going to solve this paper. But before we proceed to the actual question, let's talk about that how can you score marks in this 15-mark question. First thing is what you need to take care of is you need to see that your paper or your answer should be dealing with these important things. Like, for example, the marks are 7 to 9. You can obtain very easily if you have used the right selection statements, you have used the iteration, you have understood the question properly. Is the question dealing with any sort of counting or totaling, or which inputs are needed, or what is the outcome? If you have understood each and everything properly, if you have actually analyzed the whole question properly, then and you have used all the required programming techniques in the right order, so it means that you will be able to score 7 to 9 marks very easily. See, any selection needed, which selection statement is needed, can it be handled with if, or do you need case, which iteration is going to be most appropriate one, that is again you will decide, and you will definitely make your pseudocode based on these analysis. Is the question dealing with any sort of counting or totaling or finding out the maximum or the minimum? Which are the inputs needed? Which are the outputs required? So if you have analyzed each and everything properly, you have used all the required programming techniques in the right manner, then definitely you will be able to score 7 to 9 marks. Another important thing that you should have in your mind is you are going to use the variables or arrays or any data structure that you are using in the right order. For example, whatever data structures that are needed in the program, the ones that are given to you in the question, you cannot change them. You need to use them in the right order. And that is what you can see. The data structures used store all the required data that is required. See, all the data structures are storing all the data that is required by the scenario. So this is also a very important thing. If you have analyzed all these things properly, you have used all the appropriate programming techniques properly, you have used the right data structures, then definitely 9 marks are yours. Any questions? Okay, 7 to 9 marks are definitely going to be yours out of those 15 marks. Moving on to the second AO3, assessment objective 3. How can you score? It's normally the students can easily score 5 to 6 marks if the program has been fully commented. Very important thing is your program should have appropriate comments. All the data structures have meaningful names. Again, a very important thing that you need to remember is the data structures that you are using have meaningful names. Okay, the program is in a logical order. The third important thing, the solution is accurate. I mean, it should be using, it should be designed in such a manner that it is going to solve the designated problem, and it is performing all the required tasks in the right order. It is meeting all the requirements that are required in the question. Solution is performing all the tasks that are given in the scenario. So this is what, again, you need to take care of. And again, a suggestion, once you have started solving the paper, then put a tick for each and every requirement that you have performed in your answer, so that you are happy, you are satisfied also that you have done as per requirement. Any issues? For assessment objective 2, you can easily score 7 to 9 marks if you have followed these instructions. Again, for assessment objective 3, you can again score 5 to 6 marks easily if you have taken care of the document of the commenting, if you have used the right like names for the data structures, the meaningful names, you have not changed the names of the given data structures. One important thing, the program is in a logical order, the program is accurate, and it's meeting all the requirements. Any questions? Okay. Now, these were the general guidelines. Now let's move on to the scenario-based question of May June 2024, paper 2-2. A one-player game uses the 2D array grid to store the location of a secret cell to be found by the player in 10 moves. Now, first thing is the 2D array is by the name grid, and user or the player is allowed to have 10 moves. And this is my 2D array, fine? It's a table exactly. So you can see this is your array by the name grid. It's 1, 1 location, mean this is your location. It is pinpointed here. It is 1, 1. Similarly, by the way, if we move like this, it will be row is the same, but column is changing. This is 1 is 1, 1, then it is 1, 2, then 1, 3, then 1, 4, and 1, 5. First row and 5 columns. Similarly, if I start from here, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5. Similarly, row number 3, similarly, row number 4, and row number 5. In this manner, this grid is actually of 5 rows and 5 columns. Fine. Any questions? Okay. At the start of the game, now these are the requirements. You need to understand them first, and then we'll start solving it. Okay. The program places an X in a random cell, not in grid 1, 1. Means except for grid 1, 1, this location, it can place an X in any random location, random cell. Now, this is really interesting that you need to see. A random cell will be used here and empties all the other cells. Now, this is very important that you need to see that it is going to empty all the other cells and it will be working on a random cell which will be holding an X. The player starts at the top left of the grid. This is the beginning of the grid. Any issues? Any issues till now? Now we are going to start from the beginning. The program places an X in a random location and not in grid 1, 1, and it is going to empty all the cells that are in the given range. It empties all the other cells. Okay. The player starts at the top left of the grid. The player has 10 moves. The same thing as we talked about earlier. We've highlighted it right now also that the player is allowed 10 moves. Within 10 moves, if he is able to reach the destination, that's okay. But if not, then definitely he is losing the game. During the game, any questions before we proceed to the during the game situation? Start of the game, the placement of an X in a random position, emptying all the contents of the cell. The starting position is the beginning of the cell and the player has 10 moves. During the game, the player can move left, right, up or down by one cell and the move must be, now he cannot jump actually. If for example, if he is here, then he can move to this cell or he can move to down or he can move to the, not to the left exactly, that's great. So he can move to the right. If for example, starting from this position, he can move here or he can move here, that's allowed. Fine. If I say starting from this position, now the player can move left, right, up or down by one cell and the move must be within the grid. U1 is displayed if the player moves to the cell with X and has 10 moves or less. If he is able to reach this location X, maybe if location X is here. So if he is able to reach this location X within 10 moves, it means he is winning. Okay, or less than 10 moves or less than 10 moves. U lose is displayed if the player has made 10 moves without finding X. Now, in case he has moved further up, down, left or right, and he has still not reached the location X, it means then a message will be there that he has lost the game, you lose. Write a program that meets these requirements. You must use pseudocode or program code and add comments to explain how your code works. Important. And you can see, you can write pseudocode or program code. So if you are well versed with any one programming language, you're very good at it, then definitely you can write the program code also. And one important thing is you have to add the comments as and when needed. You do not need to declare any arrays of variables. You may assume that this has already been done. Again, a hint, a very nice instruction is given to you that you do not need to declare any arrays of variables. I mean, that is given to you. So it means that you are not required to declare. Declaration is not needed. Initializing is different. I hope that we remember it clearly. The use of declare is not needed in this program right now. You may assume that this has already been done for you. All inputs and outputs must contain suitable messages. Now, this is very, very important that you need to see that your program should have a proper prompt for the user so that he knows what is the input and what is the outcome. Any issues? This is the grid, 5 rows, 5 columns. Starting from position number 1, the user is supposed to move to left, right, up or down. And definitely he has to remain within the grid. He cannot go outside the grid. So this has to be taken care of. And before we start the game, we have to perform some activity like placement of X, emptying the cells, finding out a random position for placing this X, and then the user is asked to go with the moves. May we proceed? Okay. Now, this is what we need to take care of. Again, requirements. Once again, the arrays or lists are the grid that is given to you. The requirement 1 is you have to set up the game and you have to generate the random cell, clear all of the cells in the array. You have to set the player start position and start the player moves. You have to use the proper iteration. You have to use the arrays and library routine. This is what I had highlighted, random. And besides this random, we are going to use the round function also. And if you remember, the round function is used to round off. So we will take care that how we will be using both the required functions so that the work is done as desired. Requirement to input and check the move. Is it valid? Like you have to see that a user is moving up, down, left or right. He is not moving away from these positions. And we have to decide the outcome. Has he found the X within the 10 moves? And if he has found the value, found X, then the message should be there telling the person that he has won the game. Otherwise, if he has taken 10 moves, still not able to reach the required X, then it means a message will be that he has lost the game. So you need to take very good care of all these things before we proceed to the actual thing. Any questions, any issues that you want to ask? Are you clear? Okay, let's move. This is the solution. Just for your simplicity, just to make you comprehend what is done here is we have made use of the same so that we can assume, like for example, start from here. Set up the game. Here you can see we have used the very first thing, and that was the first requirement to empty the cells. And since it is, as you can see, it's a 2D array. So here we have used the nested loop for row equals to 1 to 5, for column equals to 1 to 5, and we are emptying the whole array in this manner. As you can see, grid is the name of the array, row, comma, column, arrow, quotations open, quotations close, that we are actually emptying the whole grid. First time the value of row is 1, the value of column is 1, so it will empty row 1, comma 1. Then the value of column changes, value of column becomes 2, so it will be 1, comma 2. Then 1, comma 3, then 1, comma 4, then 1, comma 5. So we are emptying the first row column by column, and once the inner loop has run 5 times, has been executed 5 times, it means that now the value of row will change, and now the value of row will become 2. And the value of column will start again from 1. It means now it will be 2, comma 1, 2, comma 2, 2, comma 3, 2, comma 4, 2, comma 5, 2, comma 6, I'm sorry, 2, comma 5, and the second row will be completely emptied. Then it will be row number 3, 3, comma 1, 3, comma 2, 3, comma 3, 3, comma 4, 3, comma 5. Now it's over. Then 4, 4, comma 1, 4, comma 2, 4, comma 3, 4, comma 4, and 4, comma 5. In this manner, the entire 4th row and then the entire 5th row all the columns in these rows will be emptied, will be actually, you can see, set the grid cells to be emptied. So this is just an instruction for the programmers so that they will know that this program code, this part of the program code is meant to empty the entire grid or to empty the entire 2D array. Any issues? We are done with our first requirement, requirement one's a small part that we have emptied the entire grid. Any issues? Okay, just a hint, whenever you have a 2D array, it has to be handled with a nested loop. Now, we are moving on to the next phase of our requirement, and that is finding a position, a random position. Now you can see, since it was said not in cell 1, 1, so we have to actually generate a random position. And for this, you can see random row position between 1 and 5 in the grid. And for this, what are we doing is we are using the round function. And before that, we are actually using random. So you can see the beginning is with the random, and you can see here. Okay, we are starting with the random, as you can see. Now, let me use a highlighter. This is the random function. So we are using random function, and we are using random into 4 plus 1. So in this manner, it will be creating a random, it will be actually generating a random row position between 1 and 5. So this is why we have actually performed the activity by random. Random is the function multiplied by 4 plus 1. So it will be finding out a random value, and random is generating, might generate a decimal value also. So that is why we are using the round function later. So first of all, it will be a random position generated, and this is what the syntax will be. Random into 4 is going to be in one bracket, and then we are going to add plus 1 to get a value from 1 to 5. And then comma 0, with round it is used so that it is going to round the value to no decimal places. So in this manner, this X row will hold a random value generated for the row position. Exactly the same is applied for the column also. Again, you can see since there are 5 columns, that's why random. The brackets are, there is no argument, into 4. And whatever the value is generated, adding 1 to it, and then applying the round function once again. And then you can see, since we want an integer value, that's why round is used with a comma 0. And again, it will generate a value for X column. So we have found the value for X row and X column using the random function and then applying the round function. It's basically nesting. I hope exactly that's what you remember. That's really great, Ali, that you remember it's nesting. So first of all, it's random function which will work, and then we are going to perform the round function. So in this manner, the X row and the X column will hold a value between 1 and 5. Any issues? Okay. Why have you used repeat? Just to ensure that value is not in the first row or the first column. So just to ensure, maybe the random function has generated a value that is 1, and that is a column is also generating a 1. So we just to ensure that our X row and X column is not a 1, because it was said that the value should not be a 1, 1 comma 1. So that is why we have used repeat until X row is not equal to 1 and X column is not equal to 1. Assume that X row was 1 and or X column was 1. So X row 1 is not equal to 1, condition is true. When 1 is not equal to 1, is condition is true or false? Condition is yes. Assume that X row has generated a value that was 1, and it came here and it said 1 is not equal to 1. So 1 is not equal to 1 is false. False and true means again the condition is going to be false, and it will move up. See, it stops working when the condition becomes true. In case the value of X row is maybe 2 and the value of X column is 3. So 2 comma 3. Okay, let me repeat. Now let's take another example. Assume that what you had written, the program was running and the value for x row was generated as 2 and the value of x column was generated as 3, means second row and third column. It means second row and third column. This was your spot that was generated. Fine. Okay. This was 2 and this was 3. 2 is not equal to 1. Condition is true. And 3 is not equal to 1. This condition is also true. True and true. The result is true. So it will stop. What have we learned? That repeat until works when the condition is false. It stops working when the condition becomes true. So now it will not go further. And then the next thing that will happen is it will be putting an X in this location, assuming that we have generated a value that is second row and third column. This is what we have talked about right now. The value generated for X row was 2 and the value generated for X column was 3. So it means that the value will be 2, 3 and let's do it again. Now 2 is not equal to 1. 2 is not equal to 1. It will be 2, 3. So this is what is explained here, that this will put an X in position in row number 2 and column number 3. Okay, so in this manner, grid, X row, X column. This is what we have done. In like after we are done with this calculation of this X row and X column, the next stage is grid X row, X column, means grid 2, 3 will hold X. This is what is explained here. Any issues? So this first thing was done to empty your grid. The second thing is done to find out a location in your array where the X will be placed. And now let's move further. Any questions? Now, the next thing is initializing. Exactly here, we are performing some sort of initializing. Max move, the variable that we have used is needed to store the maximum allowed moves, that is 10. Number moves equals to 0 because right now the player hasn't started any move at all. That's why number moves is equal to 0. Player row is 1 and player column is 1 because he has to start from this location 1, 1. And when is definitely false? When he has started the work, definitely he has not won the game. So now you can see this is a Boolean variable that we have used here to store the value of false. And now we are starting our player moves. Any questions? As far as initializing is concerned, any issue that is unclear? We have initialized max moves that is equal to 10. We have initialized number moves that is equal to 0. The player row and the player column are initialized with 1 and the value of when equals to false. Now we are starting the game. While, now again we have to, why while? Why not for? Since it's iteration, why not do it with for? Think about it. Can we handle it with for? Will that be a feasible option to do? Exactly. We cannot handle it for. Excellent, Ali, that we do not know that how many moves will be needed. So that's why we are not going to use for at all. Maybe the person can just assume that maybe the X was generated, the cross was generated in the first row and second column, and the person moved further. It means he is not going to go for like maybe beyond one iteration. Once he'll be able to move to the right location. So that is why the number of moves is not going to be like, this cannot be handled with a for loop. And we are using a while loop here. You can see while number moves is less than max moves and when equals to false. Now just see, right now, what is number moves? 0. 0 less than max moves. What is happening? 0 less than max moves, that is equal to 10. 0 is less than 10. Is the condition true? And the use of and here, when is false also. So it means that both the conditions are true. So it will enter the loop. Again, remember, repeat works when condition is false and stops working when condition becomes true. On the contrary, while works when condition is true, it stops functioning when the condition becomes false, or when the condition is false. So right now you can see both the conditions mentioned here are true, like number of moves is less than 10, as well as the when value is false. So it enters the loop. Move error, another variable. We are initializing it with false, and then we are outputting a message for the user so that he knows what are the allowed moves, and definitely he is going to use a certain key like this. What we are asking him to use: L for left, R for right, U for up, or D for down. 4 options allowed. There's no diagonal movement, just up, left, down, or right. And what are we doing? We are inputting the value from the user, and we are immediately converting it into upper so that our work is easier. I mean, again, the use of predefined functions, library functions as per your requirement. So we have taken help of the random round. We can use upper, we can use as many functions as we want to. So simply another move error equals to false. We are making a message, displaying a message for the user so that he knows what are the allowed moves, and we are inputting the value since we have asked him L for left, R for right, U for up, or D for down. That's why the player moves are going to be holding a value L, R, U, or D, and that is handled with input and converting it immediately into the uppercase so that we can handle the situation easily. Any questions? We are done with the setting of the game. We have generated a value, we have generated a position, and now we are moving further. Now a person assumed that he was here and he had entered L. Assume. Now, okay, now let me keep it simple right now, and then we'll proceed to the situations a little later. Temp is going to be used here, and assume that the person has entered the value right. It means from here, he has moved here. So this is your first move. This is your first move. As you can see, this is your first move. You're allowed to have the first move, and this is your, you said right, R. It means that what will change here? You are moving from this, by the way, if you're moving towards the right, what is the change? Where is the change occurring? Is it the column that is changing, or is it the row that is changing? Exactly, the column is changing. And is the column increasing or is the column decreasing? The column is increasing, exactly. So here we can see what we have done is, in case the person is entering R, it means that he has to move towards the right. And in this case, the value of column will increase. And that is what is displayed. The player column equals to player column plus 1. Okay, so the temp column will be holding player column that was entered earlier as 1, and player row was 1. So it means that in case a person has entered the right value, so it means that value of player column will increase by 1, and that will be held in a variable temp column. On the contrary, if a person has entered L, it means he is moving towards the left-hand side. So the column again is the placement of the column, and the column value will decrease by 1. So these two are handling the left or the right movement. Where the column is changing, if you're moving towards the left, it means column is decreasing by 1. When you are moving towards the right, it means the column value will be increasing by 1. Any issues? Now moving on to up or down, as you can see, when you say up, it means what? Now it is very simple. When you are saying up, it means the value will be, what will happen now? Yes. Up means what? Yes, what will happen now? Up means what will change? Up means the row value will be changing, it will be decreasing. In case of down, the row value will be increasing. For example, if you're moving from this position to this position, so it means that your row is changing. You're moving from here to here, it means row is going to increase. If you're moving from up to down, like dot down to up, your row will be, for example, if you're moving up, it means your row will be decreasing. So in this manner, we have handled the row to handle the up or the down. For columns, we are using left or right for columns change. And for up and down, we are using the row value. Up means the row is decreasing by 1, and down means the row is going to increase by 1. Any issues? So we have handled the first input of the user from the user in player move, and then we are simply checking the value of player move. And the best thing to handle to use is going to be case of player move LRUND. In case the person has entered a value other than LRU or D, then it will be moving to the otherwise. And here you can see otherwise, in case not any of these options are selected. So it will move to otherwise, and the move error that earlier was false will become true. And we are ending our case, and we are done with first move from the user. As we have talked about, the first move was from this position to this position. It means in this case, what happened? The user has moved from 1, 1 to first row and second column. Okay, any issues? Any questions till now? Now let's move further. If, for example, the person has moved again, he has said that he has moved maybe to the down. So again, you can see in this case, he was asked to enter again. He entered down. So it means again, the value will be changing the value of row, and the value of row will be increasing by 1. So in this manner, you can see for yourself. I hope that this part of the code is clear to everyone. Case of player move based on the input that is given by the user, and we have converted it into uppercase by using the upper function. Now, checking for out of range. If, for example, a person, assume that a person has moved here and here and here, he is moving further and further and further. It may happen, no? He moves here, then he moves here, and then he moves here, and then he tries to move again because he is allowed 10 moves exactly. So he started from this position, he moved towards the right hand side, the right hand side, and the right hand side, and he pressed again the right R. So definitely we have to keep a track that the value entered is not out of range. And this code is simply meant to handle the out of code situations. It's very simple. If temp column is less than 1 or temp column greater than 5. See, it's again the use of or. In case the value that has been computed, we are simply checking the value that whether it's not an out of range move. So if temp column is less than 1 or temp column is greater than 5, then move error equals to true once again. See, move error is true in situation number 1 here, as you can see, when the person is entering a value other than L, R, U, or D. And another situation when the move error will be true is when you are trying to move to a column that is out of the grid, whether you are moving in any manner, the temp column is either before 1 or it is above 5. Maybe you are moving further and further, as I showed you. You moved right and right and right, and you moved on to the last column. And when you press right again, it is going to make the value of temp column become 6. Definitely here we are simply trapping the temp column will be increased or decreased. Similarly, the temp row will be increased or decreased. We're not checking this, we are checking it now in this scenario. I mean, again, exactly, that is just one of the examples. We can do it in other styles also. And if your program is meeting the right criteria, then definitely you will be gaining the marks. No worries at all. It's just logic. Your logic should be the accurate one to score the marks. So we have handled temp column is less than 1 or temp column is greater than 5, then move error will be true. Else, if this is not the case, it means that in this case, as we have talked about, that value the user has moved from location 1, 1 to location 1, 2. So then in this case, we are simply setting the player column as temp column. Simple, the column value will change and it will become, the player column will become 2, as in our case. Any issues? Exactly the same thing we are doing for the row also. In case the person was trying to move up or down, and the value of temp row was either less than 1 or the value of temp row was above 5, then the same, move error equals to true, else the player row will be equal to temp row. So in our case, the value of the player column will become 2 After the first move is made and the value of player will become 1, it will remain the same because there is no change as such. It will remain the same as it was earlier. Fine, because we have said it earlier, that's why it is going to remain the same. Any issues? Player row was 1, it will remain 1. The player column has changed because we have moved to the right hand side, and that is why the new location will be 1, 2. Have you understood? Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. Any issues? We have simply done till now the calculation of the temp column or the temp row, and then we have checked that whether the temp row or the temp column is not moving out of the grid. Now, check when if X found. Definitely it's not found here, but let's understand if grid is the name of the array, player row, comma player column equals to X. If, for example, the person has moved to the desired location, he has reached this X, then when equals to true, output you win. Else, if move error equals to false, then number moves equals to number moves plus 1. See, we are just simply doing, maybe the person has reached the desired location X, then immediately the variable win will have the value of true, and the message will be there for the user to know that he has won the game. If this is not the case, as this is not the case right now, then we are just checking if move error equals to false, then number moves equal to number moves plus 1. Let's take our scenario where we have made the first move and we have moved from 1, 1 to 1, 2. Any issues? So we are simply updating the value of number moves will be 2 in our case. In this case that we have taken, we have moved to the from first row, first column to first row, second column. Any issues now? And endif will send it. And here until move error equals to false. And since move error is equals to false, that's why the condition is right now move error till the time the value of move error does not become false. So here you can see the value of move error is still, in our case, what? Move error is false. False equals to false. So it will move and it will take to end while and it will check the condition again. Number moves is less than max moves. As you can see now it is 1. Number move is no more 0, it is now 1. 1 is less than 10 and when equals to false. Both the conditions are now true. So it will move again here. The value of move error will be false again, and again a message for the user, input taken from the user, and then we are simply assuming that now once the user was asked to enter, he moved second stage as down. So down means the temp arrow was increased by 1. It became 2. We are simply checking the value is in the right, the value is of temp column is not out of range, the value of temp row is not out of range. So simply the value will become what? The temp row, the player column will remain the same as it was earlier because there's no change in the column, there's only change in the row, and now it is going to be your second row and second column. So again, it's not able to find the position. It moves here. Is move error false? Yes. So now the number of moves will it become? It will. Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Ali, for pinpointing that earlier it was 0, so it will become. Let me erase it so that we can recall. Number moves was 0 earlier, so it became from 0 to 1, and then it became 2. 1 plus 1 is going to be 2, so we have made the second move. Okay, and then again, and while we'll send it back to the while loop, and then it will be checking the value. 2 is less than or equal to 10. Again, condition is true, so it enters. The value of move error equals to false, and please enter your move again. Assume that we are winning in this case. We have moved to the right hand side now. So you can see now it is right. Again, right means that the player column will be increased by 1. It will be checking the player column still within the range. So it will be moving it will be changing the value of column. It will become 3 exactly. So it will be checking if grid 2 comma 3 equals to x. It's the second row and the third column. So is it equals to x? Yes, exactly. So it is x. So immediately the value of win will be true, and you will be displaying a message for the user to know that he has won the game, and we are going to move out and end while we'll send it back. And here you can see now number moves is going to be the same, but win is not false anymore. So it will not enter here and will move outside the end while, after the while, and if win equals to false, then output you lose. That is not there. It has already displayed a message for the user that output you have won. You win exactly. Yes, we are restricting ourselves to the same messages that are displayed as are given in our questions, so we are not going to change it as per our choice. Any issues till now? Case number 1, where we have won the game. Just think about it. Can you think of other scenarios also? Running the program, maybe a person has made 10 moves because maybe X is maybe in the last situation, last row, or and the last column. So maybe a person has has taken many moves, and still he is not able to locate. It may happen. He is wandering, he's moving back and forth and still not able to locate. Then definitely a situation will come that you have taken 10 moves and still not able to locate the X, and then the message will be you lose. No worries at all. Best of luck next time. Are you okay with this? Any issues in understanding? Should we go with other scenarios, or are you able to comprehend the 2 scenarios that we have talked about? Scenario number 1 is you have a random position was second row, third column, and you were able to locate the position in the 2 moves as such, 3 moves, but you were able to locate the situate the X in your 3 moves, and you are able to win the match. And second situation, I've said that maybe the X is placed in a very distant location and you have made the moves backward and forward and you are not able to locate the X at all. Your moves are done. 10 times is not unlimited, and definitely you are going to lose your game, as happens in the games actually. Just go through this. You have a question, you can ask me. Just giving you 2 minutes to comprehend. If you have any query, then I'm definitely going to help you out. Okay, just a hint. Okay, now no worries, Abdullah. I'm going to help you out. Repeat until works when condition is. When condition is. See, while works when condition is true. Repeat until works when condition is false. So when the value of move error, if for example the value of move error equals to false, so false equals to false. The condition, what will you treat this statement to be? False equals to false. You will say that this to be true. So it will not function further. It will not move back to repeat to go for another check exactly. So see, repeat and until is going to be used here to see the value of the movement that you have made, L, R, U, or D, and checking that is it within the limit or not. So this is just a mean to see that it will continue to see until the value of move error is not equal to false. Until move error equals to false. Exactly. Repeat until works when condition is false. It stops working when condition becomes true. And on the contrary, while works when condition is true, it stops functioning when condition becomes false. It is the reverse of each other. So this is what is going to handle repeat until. Fine. Are you okay with this whole thing? See, at the beginning you were confused, and now you can see for yourself it's so easy. If you have actually analyzed your question properly, you have identified the requirements, you have understood that what how you handle. So it's so easy, isn't it? It seemed to be difficult, but it's just one of the examples that we example a way of handling. You can think of your own method also. You can share your answers with us, and we'll see that whether your answer is right or wrong. No issues, Kinanta. That's really wonderful. I'm really very happy that you have understood each and everything. Jazakallah khairan Kasira for being a part of the learning journey. If you have liked the videos, subscribe the channel, and do not forget to click on the bell icon so that you are getting the latest updates of all the videos that are uploaded. And do not forget to join the community and uh, do share whatever you want the videos to be made, so that our next videos will be definitely based on your input. Besides this, a lot of videos are already uploaded on YouTube channel, which you can watch for the papers, and the quick recap is there. The updated list of the different chapters is there. Definitely go through them and let us know how you like our videos. Subscribe, share with your friends and family, and take very good care of yourselves. May Allah bless you. May Allah take care of you. Keep watching, keep subscribing, keep liking, and best of luck to you all. Allah Hafiz.